Hello and welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Chris with the CHRILLCAST. Today is a special, it's a Sunday video. It's going to be a long one, okay? We're going to be talking about how I got to this point here. Why I now own a RetroUSB AVS and whether you should. Hopefully this video will help you to decide whether you also want a RetroUSB AVS because they're working on probably one of their last releases of the console. Summer of 2023 due to the ongoing chip shortage and the lack of ability to get parts for this console. So if you want to be a part of the probably one of the last, for at least for a while, runs of the RetroUSB AVS, maybe this video will help you to decide if you're on the fence or if you've even just had a curiosity whether you want this console. All right, so how did I end up getting a RetroUSB AVS? Well, it's a long journey and we're going to go through it. So I am currently doing a Let's Play of the Metroid series on the CHRILLCAST TV channel. If you've not seen that, let's see. Go to channels on our main channel here. Go to CHRILLCAST TV. It's been on hiatus just because of my work schedule, but we did complete the original Metroid game. That was fun. We got through Metroid 2 on the Game Boy Color, the original Game Boy, using the Game Boy player, although I wish I would have had my Super Game Boy and done it that way, but I digress. And the next one we're going to be doing is through the Super Metroid on the SNES, using the RetroTink 2X Pro and the HD Retrovision cables, the RGB cables produced by that company. But anyways, after playing this on the Switch, I decided to pick up a copy of Metroid on the NES and a few other games like Battletoads and Super Mario Brothers and Everdrive. Let's see where this is going. But I didn't have a way to play them. Well, the Everdrive came later, but I didn't have a way to play them. So what would anybody who owns a Super Nintendo do? Well, they probably wouldn't do what I did, but they were looking up a way to play NES games on their Super Nintendo. They stumbled upon the RetroPort adapter. It's a retro-bit produced console that was originally meant to be for the Retro Duo Portable. But this one ends up being compatible with the SNES. One of these. But unfortunately, it doesn't use the standard cables that come with the SNES. No, it uses like one of those headphone jacked RCA adapters, which is bizarre. And because of that, I was like, well, I don't really want to do that. So I kept searching on the internet, eventually stumbled upon this device, the Super 8, also sold as the TriStar, which was released in 1995 for, you guessed it, the Super Nintendo. So of course, immediately I reached out to my friend Adam Gorlick and said, hey, I'm thinking about getting this adapter for the Super Nintendo to play NES games on my Super Nintendo. And he said, you're not going to like it. But, of course, here we are. So, I got this. Sits right on top of your Super Nintendo like that. Plugs into the back using the multi-out. And then you take another multi-out right there. Or you could do RF, but why would you do that? Take this and plug that into your TV, and you essentially go composite to composite to composite. And that's how you're able to play NES games. And technically, Famicom games as well. Both will work. It has a slot for both. And it has a pass-through port for Super Nintendo games. But I'll show you right here, look. There you go. Doesn't that look ridiculous? You can now play Super Mario Bros. On your Super Nintendo without the Super Mario All-Stars collection. But yeah, so I was doing that for a little bit, and I might have been satisfied with that, except that is not compatible with any type of RGB. This thing claims it has RGB. I think it even says it in the Wikipedia page. Where is it at? Yeah, however, there's been much controversy over a misleading piece of information that was included in the system. The instruction booklet for the Super 8 claims the Super 8 provides RGB output. No, it does not. However, this is actually false. There's no RGB support at all for the peripheral. And it actually has some issues where if you don't know how to do the hardware mods, which I ended up doing, this Super Nintendo port here doesn't have pass-through for peripherals such as the Super Game Boy. But because I did the mods, it can do Super Game Boy, which would have been perfect, except, like it says there, no RGB output. So it's not compatible with the HD RetroVision cables, which means the output video signal for this is not as good as it could be. I'm going to put a pause here and I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. So as you can see, this can select between the 16-bit slot and the 8-bit slot on that thing. Remember I showed you we had Famicom, NES, and Super Nintendo ports on the front, so it's a pass-through for Super Nintendo, and we had 8-bit slots. So you want to make sure you only have one of the 8-bit slots filled if you're going to use 8-bit, and this is about the quality of what you get. So, yep. So that's what that looks like, outputting from the Super 8 to a HD television. This is an approximation. It's a pretty decent approximation here. And I think you can hear it too. It does an alright job. It's not like the worst thing in the world. Not perfect, not the best. It's actually got pretty good compatibility with the NES library, but it is, at the end of the day, just a Famiclone sitting on top of the SNES and using a crappy composite. Now, the reason why this console didn't work out for me, why I wasn't quite satisfied, and you're all gonna laugh, was actually because of Battletoads. This is a game that I really enjoy. See, it doesn't look bad, does it? Actually looks pretty good. But you're going to see the problem here in a minute. There's actually two issues with Battletoads. One being when you try to do two-player, because this is a Famiclone, you can't hit the start button to add a second player, which is really unfortunate. But the first issue that I ran into before I realized you couldn't do two-player, just see very quickly here. And actually, TV, it's not like disappearing nearly as bad as it does on this screen for some reason, but it is a little muted. The colors are pretty dark. There's not really a way to fix that, and it is composite, so there's a lot of issues on that front. But, I mean, overall, the game is playable. But it has a similar issue to pretty much all Famiclone. And I'll show you what that is. Hopefully we'll get there very soon. I'm very good at this first level of Battletoads. I've played it so many times. Not quite. See if I can jump on top. Yay, there we go. That guy's annoying. Yeah, but basically we're gonna get to this part. I'm sure you guys, anybody who's familiar with Battletoads on the NES will know exactly what issue I'm gonna run into here in a little bit. Oh no. We missed the one up. Oh gosh, that wasn't the issue. I mean, it is an issue. It's just not an issue for why I need to give up on this game. Probably gonna fail out pretty quick on this next level. The one nice thing about playing with the Super 8 is you get to use an SNES controller. But here's where things fall apart. We'll see how far I can get. Yep, right there. That is the issue. So somewhere around like 95 to 99% of Family clones cannot play Battletoads. And I have yet to figure out why. But something about Battletoads just causes every single Family clone that I've ever seen to do this. And it's bizarre, and I have no idea why. Moving back to kind of my story. So after this happened, I was like, well, if I can't play Battletoads, then we need to come up with a better solution. So then I reached out, actually it was on Twitter, and I asked the guys at Old School whether the Classic N HD could play Battletoads. And I briefly purchased and owned one, because they initially said yes, they assumed that it could. And there's video evidence that it can do that. But unfortunately, the video evidence that shows that it can play Battletoads has a fatal flaw in that it only goes through level 2 one time. Unfortunately, if you go through it more than once, you'll find out that this exact same issue occurs at certain points of the game. You might get lucky and make it all the way through, but the fact of the matter is there's this glitch that exists in Battletoads where these NES on a chip Family clones just can't get through the game. So that leads me to the next thing that we decided to do. We got ourselves, it's not the AVS, an NES, old school NES. Which, if you don't know the NES very well, then you don't realize this thing has old school composite, just like the Super 8, and has RF. So you're kind of limited on your options for playing the NES in the highest quality possible. There are avenues to play it in better quality picture, but those are expensive. Generally, you're going to pay the same amount of money to HDify your old NES as what you'll pay to buy a retro USB AVS. So anyways, next option was this. So if you want to see the quality of this, we're going to put it on the screen. We'll try it next. Now I will say this before we even get into it. I just want to point something out to everybody. These old NES consoles, these are about 40 years old at this point. So keep in mind, they're like pins inside of here that when you put a cartridge in, they pin down. And there used to be a mod you could do as the blinking light win, and that would basically get rid of this locking feature, and it would make it a straight pass-through connection where you wouldn't have to worry about the pins getting weak from this constant press down, press up procedure. Unfortunately, those are very hard to come by. The second thing that a lot of these NES systems have is wavy lines in the picture. This one had its caps replaced, so there are no wavy lines due to power signal issues. But you may find yourself, if you buy one of these, having wavy lines in the picture. That means that the caps and the power supply are starting to go bad, and they need to be replaced. Another thing, not all composite cables are the same. Higher quality, better picture. And if you don't feel like doing cap mods, you can get a DC power supply, which bypasses all of those caps in the rectifier circuit. It's electrical engineering stuff. If you don't like that kind of stuff, you can not do a mod and hope that the NES lasts a long time, but just know that eventually it will destroy itself. Anyways, now we got that out of the way. Something to note is that sometimes, because this cartridge slot is old and the pins are bent, sometimes it won't work right. And you got to wiggle and play with it and blow in the cartridge and all the things you're not supposed to do. That's just how you have to go about it with some of these older consoles. So this was next in my line of thinking. Like, I'll just get an old NES. And I'll be happy with the picture quality, right? Well, you'll see the same thing I'm seeing here in just a minute. So let's get there. All right. So this is what I got after I did all that work. Got myself a NES. Of course, my wireless NES mod has died, so we're going to have to swap to a different NES controller. Give me a second. Alright, now that we got a handy-dandy wired NES controller, here we go. This is what this thing looks like. It's authentic, but it's still a little blurry. Sounds good. But yeah, there's just enough blurriness that it bothers you, even with the RetroTink connected, which is what I have right here. By the way, the RetroTinks aren't cheap. So I'm already like, you know, $100+ into this thing by the time I get to the RetroTink. And we know the NES hardware isn't going to last forever. So, yeah, it plays Mario, and it'll play Battletoads. I'm going to show you that in a second, but man, I'm just looking at the screen thinking, I know this could look better. So, here we are, Battletoads, in 480p upscaled. And it looks better. Definitely looks better than the Super 8 did. That's for sure. No doubt in my mind about that. Sounds better, looks better, and you can actually get through level 2, which I will show you. But then again, look, there's still that fuzziness. Still that fuzziness. So I'm just not as happy as I could be with this one. And I do love me some Battletoads, but fuzziness, I don't love. See if we can land this time. Ooh, I messed that up. There we go. This is what we were trying to do the first time here. You notice, like, there's some weird glitching with some of the graphics on here, too. There we go. That guy's gone. Let's hit that one up. The one up. There we go. We got it that time. Alright. That's much better. Like, the colors seem a little muted, and like there's fuzziness to the screen. It's because it's original NES. That's just what they do. Without an RGB mod or the HDMI mod or HD NES, that's what you're kind of stuck with. But it will play all the way through level 2. But like we're in better shape than we were with the Super 8. Yeah, see, we won't glitch out on here because it's in a real NES hardware. And I don't need to show you guys this. It's just a fact. We know that original NES hardware won't have the same issue. But it's fuzzy. Which, I don't like fuzzy. So I don't need to keep showing you guys this, but basically that's my issue. It's just super duper fuzzy. And I just, like, I'm already there. I might as well spend a few extra dollars and finally get what I consider to be the best SNES that money can buy. Or NES. That's this guy. Hold on, let's get there. This. Alright, so let's read this story here. When RetroUSB started, it was with spare parts and a guest bedroom retrofitting NES controllers. Then came the first USB adapters. A huge step to take a product to full manufacturing. Now, Chinese copies are everywhere. We mastered controllers and realized we could do more. We brought you the first NES homebrews using all brand new parts. This was continuing efforts, this continuing effort expands the future of NES gaming, fulfills the childhood dreams of many programmers. Next, we went high tech with the Power Pack. Power Pack actually came out years before the original EverDrive for the NES came out. It's basically a flash cart for the NES, which means you can load homebrews and custom games and ROMs onto the NES using a single cartridge and some form of storage media, where the N8 uses SD. The Power Pack uses, I believe, CF flash carts. I don't actually own any of those, or I'd show you guys what they look like. We realized we could use our full knowledge of the NES to build great devices. We realized we could use our device to build great experiences. Starting today, RetroUSB takes the next step in the evolution of the NES to bring you the AVS. This guy. Let's see here. 30 years after the NES, RetroUSB becomes a complete console company. The AVS is a console as beautiful as the pixel-perfect HD images it generates. Couldn't be simpler. Works just the way you expect it to. Real hardware means no boot or loading times, no stolen software, emulators, or buggy Nintendo on a chip, which Super 8 runs on. A wide range of gamepad, video, and cheat options to play the way you want. We set a few key features to define the experience. From the start, we were dedicated to the ultimate in compatibility for both NES and Famicom. That's why they have two ports on this thing. There's the Famicom port, there's the NES port. Let's see, you're going back. Not just all past cart, but future ones as well. Not just compatibility with carts, but gamepads too. All regions, all devices. It's so bad, even your Power Glove works. That attention to detail extends to the HDMI video with super sharp pixels, zero lag scaling, optional scan lines with variable darkness, and multiple regions let you select the pixel or the perfect picture for you. Set horizontal scaling anywhere from square pixels to super widescreen. A NES with composite compared to the AVS is a stunning difference in picture quality, even better than the RetroTink, by the way. The design extends to the back with the standard USB cable for power. Right there. It actually uses a mini USB, which is kind of bizarre because the only other console I have that uses mini USB is the PS3 for controllers. For power, that can be plugged into the back of many TVs. No ugly power brick needed, but it did come with one, and no problem when you need a replacement in 20 years. With a commitment to the future of the system, we added an additional line of new homebrew carts. They have a wide range of games, from a Galaga-style shooter to music cart to a kid-friendly coloring game. True retro games, instead of merely retro-styled, are a hallmark of the system. Explore new worlds created by those who grew up with the system. It says the computer industry does not make devices to last generations. The style of the day is a world away 10 years later. Today's machines won't run tomorrow's software. Your smartphone is replaceable in 2 years. The AVS does not follow these rules. This iconic design will be recognizable a decade from now. Those same great carts will still be enjoyed, and I hope you will be using the same piece of hardware you pick up today. Write your initials on the bottom like a kid, and remember that moment when you were 50. Let's have the next generation enjoy these games too. This is what technology is for. It's not about megahertz and gigabytes. It's about reliving those special memories. and creating new ones. It's the sound the plastic makes when you slide in a familiar game. It's about discovering a new game, even if that game is 30 years old. Play your NES cards in amazing HD with the AVS. That is exactly what I plan on doing. So how this thing works is you take your AVS, you take your cartridge, slide it right in there, and it makes like a kind of a hard push, just FYI, if you get over these things. But once you get it in there, you can feel it's firm. You close it just like an original NES, and you are ready to play. It's even got buttons from a surplus of NES consoles. These are exactly the same buttons as what you see on the NES. There's the buttons for the AVS, and there's the NES buttons. These are the exact same. If I can make this line up right, hold on. These are the exact same buttons on the AVS and the NES. Check that out. That's pretty cool. Piece of gaming history right there. So once you slot in your game, if your cartridge needs to be cleaned, you'll have the same kind of artifacts and nastiness that you see on an NES as you will on this. But hopefully you won't have that problem. Hopefully your cards are clean, you plug them in, and you're good to go. So now we're going to show you what this looks like. And by the way, it even has a Famicom expansion right there for Famicom peripherals. But I don't actually own any, so I'm not worried about that. All right, I'm going to plug it in and show you what it looks like. All right, here is the startup menu for the RetroUSB AVS. You've got the start cart option. This is the 1.52 revision, so it's a pretty recent one. I think it was like earlier this year, 2022. It's got video options. I've already set mine right, so the way I like it. For pixel aspect, you can go all the way down to like really small. I mean, this is already set up for 4:3, so if I set it up right, on my TV it looks ridiculous, but on here it looks 4:3, so we'll just leave it there that way. Really what you want it at is about 1, 2, 3, but because mine's in 4:3 modified, I got to widescreen it to make it look right. And then for vertical border, you can lower it like this. You can make it like a weird different thing. I just usually turn that off and let it go full. Scan lines off. I hide the left side because I don't want to see that little line of pixels. Turn the extra sprites on. I leave this alone. Keep it on the original, and I don't even touch the interpolation. It also has Game Genie codes. You can plug those right in. And as far as input options, you can mess with the controller. So you can change cheats toggles, turn turbos on, and all that stuff. I'm not going to bother with that. But yeah, we start the cart. And it looks beautiful. No fuzziness, just perfect pixels. This is what I wanted all along. Oh, and the sound sounds good too. This is what I was expecting when I got my retro tank, was I'll look like this. And this can play through level 2 unlike every other Famiclone I've ever used. This is what the Xbox One version should look like. Not that garbage, horribly color paletted version they have in their replay. Man, I love this game. looks so good in HD. Ooh. Just look at how nice those pixels look. The only really unfortunate part of this thing is that it doesn't work with the zapper, the original zapper. Do. Oh, hang on. I just realized I left something on here. Hold on. We don't have to mess with the video source for this. Filters. It's not that one. Sharpness. We don't need to mess with that one. It's already sharp. We don't need more sharpness. So really, you could almost call this the quest to play Battletoads the way it was meant to be played. Oh my gosh, I'm failing hard on this. There we go. Here comes another one. There we go. Got him. Got him. Doop. Oh, dang it. We're not gonna make it past this level, watch. Of course we're not. I gotta make it past this level just to show you guys it actually works. There we go. Got him. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. See? Made it through level 2. RetroUSB passes the test. These jumps drive me nuts. You just can't make this stuff up. That made no sense. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Ooh, almost missed that one. There we go. Most famous part of Battletoads right here. Oh, almost had that one. Anyways. Anyways, guys, so I'll be right back. So anyways, as you can tell, this went from a simple way for me to get the experience of playing NES games on a Super Nintendo with the Super 8 to a high quality HD console so I can play Battletoads. But what I can tell you is this console is 100%, in my opinion, worth the $209 plus shipping that it is currently pre-ordering for. I am extremely impressed with the both video and audio quality coming out of this console. It's one of the most impressive, like, retro reimagined things I've ever seen, and it continues to surprise me. If you so choose to combine it with something like the EverDrive, where you can load your personally backed up copies of your own games, no piracy here, then it'd be a perfect solution to never have to unplug and plug in your old carts ever again, and just play all of them directly off of something like a EverDrive, or as sold on the RetroUSB website, the Power Pack. Mine just happened to have a bundle with an EverDrive in it, so very happy with my purchase. And I think you would be too if you're looking for an HD way to play your NES. I think the RetroUSB AVS is the way to go. There's one other option, but it's extremely hard to get, and I don't recommend trying to pay the price to get it. But if you're a super enthusiast, there is also the analog NT Mini. I don't own this, I've never played on this, but everybody I do know that has one is very happy with it. Similarly to how happy I am with this. The only real downside to the RetroUSB AVS that the analog NT Mini allows you to do is the fact that the NT Mini can do light gun games on an old CRT because it has output in composite. It has composite output / component. I'm not exactly sure which one, RGB, whatever. It also has VGA, I think. Let's see if it's got it on here. Hold on. It's got HDMI, RGB component, S-Video composite, and it'll do NTSC and PAL. So really the only thing that this one does is 720p HDMI, which is fine. You don't, like, realistically, if you're trying to play your NES games on an HD TV, you already know you can't use the zapper. So if you're not trying to play it on old school televisions, then there's really no advantage to getting the NT Mini. This one can do almost everything that one can do aside from the video options. And I think the NT Mini supposedly has a higher quality digital to analog audio chip. But that's besides the point. If all you want to do is play your NES games on an HD screen and super nice pixel perfect graphics, the RetroUSB AVS is perfectly fine. If you want top of the line best hardware ever for the NES, then the NT Mini is, like, bar none the best one. I don't need that. I don't know that I'll ever need that. So I recommend you get this one. RetroUSB AVS. It's much cheaper, $209. These ones are not even being produced, so on eBay they're pulling above $500, way above $500. And there's no plans to release any more of these. So, and if you really want, you can get the controllers that are on the analog website. Mine came in the bundle that I bought. It's a really good bundle, actually, really good deal. I have to say the eBay seller I bought it from was very kind and helped me out with this awesome bundle that I was able to get. High quality, good stuff that came with it, and I can't complain. It's a really nice console. But yeah, the RetroUSB AVS, the best way, in my opinion, to experience the NES on a modern HD television. So that's my journey from the retro port and not getting it to the Super 8 to the classic NHD, which, if you want to play things other than Battletoads, this is a great $40 solution. But if you want to play everything else like Battletoads, this is the only solution for you. RetroUSB AVS or the NT Mini. But like I said, this is the one that's coming out next summer. You can pre-order it now and get yourself one reserved. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this sporadic video that I'm putting out, since nobody asked for it. As always, I'm your host, Chris, with the CHRILLCAST, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.